Okay.
Danny, how you doing tonight, Danny?
I'm doing good.
You ready to get into these questions?
Yes, I'm happy to.
All right, let's get into it. Do you agree or disagree with what she said in the video? Why or why not?
I fully disagree. You
Why?
you know I disagree. You're not
I know you
surprised by that.
disagree. Tell us why.
I mean, I think she's coming from a very conservative, traditional, very likely religious kind of understanding of sex, which is not how I view sex at all. Sex is not something that is connected to your value. Having sex doesn't make you dirty. It doesn't lessen who you are. So this idea that having sex somehow decreases your worth is ludicrous to me.
All right. So, as a woman yourself, do you think women should be more mindful of who they engage in sex with any more than men should?
I mean, I think everyone should be mindful about who they're having sex with, and more importantly, why they're having sex. There's a lot of psychological underpinnings as to why we seek out sex and what it does for us, and they're very complex and varied. So it's important for all of us to assess what we're getting out of those interactions so that we can do so in a healthy, safe way. But it's not a gendered thing.
All right. Do you think there's an agenda among certain groups of people to encourage what I'm referring to as the sexual liberation of women? Do you think that there's a current agenda of among certain groups of people that are pushing women to have certain mentalities and have certain behavior, like when it comes to men, dating, relationships, sex, it's all the above?
Absolutely. I think it's very overtly and discussed part of a lot of progressive and feminist agendas. I think the reasoning behind that is because historically women have taken a lot more of the brunt of shame around sex, and therefore have had a lot more of the negative repercussions associated with it. A lot of that resulting in assault, abuse, all of these things. The more that women see sex as something that is for them, something that is for pleasure, something that is good, the less likely they are able to be manipulated and abused through that.
Do you support the sexual liberation of women, Danny?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I know you do. But go for the people. Just go ahead, elaborate on why you do support the sexual liberation of women.
Because I mean, honestly, I support sexual liberation for both because I think it's naive to say that men are sexually liberated. Men are often confined by the similar chains of our current understanding of sex. And I think as both become more sexually liberated, both are able to experience more joy and happiness. Sex can be an incredibly healing thing. It can be a great form of connection and communication. I think both genders should be able to experience that. So all for it.
I know you said that both genders should be able to experience it, but as far as like emotionally, don't you think men having sex with several different women that they're in not relationships with, that they're not in relationships with, is completely different than women having sex with several men that they're not in relationships with? Don't you think emotionally that it affects the two differently? Like, cause like me personally, I think a man could, he could be blowing Stacy's back out on Monday, and blow Erica's back out on Wednesday, and then link up with Jessica on Friday. But I personally, I don't think women are really built. I don't think women are built to like be with Ladarius on Monday and Jamonte on Wednesday and getting their back blown out by whoever on Friday. I don't think it's the same.
Uh, from my like professional standpoint on that, absolutely, it's the same. Your women are just as able to go and have multiple sexual partners in the same day and not be emotionally connected to that. Again, it's about people's individual understanding of what they are seeking from a sexual dynamic. People who are sexually aware and know what they want to get out of an experience absolutely can have multiple partners in a day. I know plenty of women who do.
Okay, but like Danny, like it's one thing to enjoy that, pleasure while it's going on, but whether like down the line, and I'm not even talking like far down the line, but you think like woman can just brush that off the same way men can just brush it off. Because Danny, this is what I always say that a lot of women have an epiphany moment. Some women have it earlier and some women have it later. But I think a lot of women get to a point where they wake up one morning or they wake up from a nap and they like have this epiphany moment where they're like, damn, they do feel quote unquote used and abused by, the men that they've engaged in physical intimacy with, because they realize that, oh, not only was I not in a relationship with these men, I don't ever hear from these men. These men really don't care about me. They really don't like me. And I really don't think, I'm not saying men don't have that moment, but I don't think if men do have that moment, I don't think they have it nearly as much. And I don't think it hits nearly as deep as it does for women. So what do you have to say about that? Because and I say that to say that when women have this epiphany moment, I think this epiphany moment is what leads a lot of women to become abstinent and want to be celibate for, a certain amount of time, because now they only want to give men that are want to commit to them and be in relationships with them access to their body. So that's honestly how I really feel.
Mhm.
I think I
No,
think
and
I
you're
think once I think a lot of women wait until they get dogged out and become single mothers before they want to start moving differently. That's honestly how I feel.
Mhm.
What do you have to
No,
say
and
about that?
you're not wrong in your observation. I think what I keep talking about, like it's really important that you know your motives and why you're trying to have sex and why you're doing these things is because a lot of women specifically are told that sex is what is valuable to them in relationships, and so sex is often used as a tool to try to get men to date them and want to be with them. And if you're using sex as a tool to get a relationship, you are absolutely in for a rude awakening. If you are having sex for yourself, for your pleasure, and negotiating with people, that you're sleeping with, of what your expectations are, what the intentions are, where things are going to go. Are you doing this and dating because you want to have things progress further? Are you in a casual mode? If you're upfront and honest and understand why you're doing something, you don't have that wake up moment. But of course, if you're unconsciously using sex as a means to try to get a relationship and that's not panning out for you, yes, that will hurt. But that the same goes for men. When men are using sex as a tool to get emotional comfort from women or things, and it's all shallow because they don't know how to actually communicate their emotional needs and get these things met through different means, they also feel like, oh, I keep having all these things, but it all feels so hollow. And now I'm sad and I'm alone and I don't know how to connect.
All right,
This is all societal stuff playing on how people have relationships with one another. But the fact that sex itself is not the thing that's doing it.
all right. So this is I'm gonna read a statement to you, and I just want you to say true or false, and why why your answer is what it is. So, a man having a high body count does not affect his ability to get a wife, but it's not the same the other way around. True or false?
So it doesn't affect men, but it does affect women. That's what you're saying?
Basically, yes.
Uh False.
Oh, why?
Um, that's kind of a weird question. I'm trying to think of like both because they're talking about men and women. I think it does it doesn't no, it does affect men's ability to get a wife. I think there are definitely women who see how men treat sex, and that can be a very unattractive feature to see a man just have multiple partners, more so because it's a reflection of how he views sex. And especially with high rates of infidelity, I think that can often be a red flag for a lot of women. So I would assume it actually probably does impact the type of person who a man is going to be able to get into a relationship to the level where he's getting married. And I would say the same thing for women. There's just a lot of judgment around partners. So, yes, of course, some people are going to care about that. I think at the end of the day, women have a little bit more of a larger pool to choose from. So, if someone is going to judge you for your body count, like you can just not deal with them. There's plenty who are not going to care. So if anything, it might be a little bit more limiting to men, but that's like a loose response there. I
All
don't have
right,
like numbers on that.
hold on, Danny. Hey, Marty, I'm gonna let you go last, brother, because like I know what you're Marty. Marty,
I
I'm
really want to respond to what she just said, bro. I really do.
hold on,
Hey,
hold
Danny,
on,
how
wait,
you
hold on,
doing,
Marty,
sweetheart?
hold on, Marty, just wait, because I know
Hold
what
on,
you're about
Marty,
to do.
let him
Marty,
finish,
Marty,
then
write it
we'll take
down,
it.
Yeah,
Marty,
for sure.
Marty,
Absolutely. I'm
Marty,
gonna let him run it his way.
write what she says down and write what Aaron says down so you can address them because I already know what you're about to do and I want to give you the floor to rock. So Danny, this is how I personally feel. Okay, um, I disagree with you. Um, I don't even like the whole hypergamous word and the whole hypergamy thing, but Danny, y'all want like I was a college basketball player, right? I was like an all American and all that. Like, Danny, let me ask you this. So University of or UCLA, because you out there in LA, UCLA.
Hmm.
So we have two guys, okay? Guy A is just a regular student. He's not on any sports team. He's not part of any on-campus groups, no frats, not in any programs on campus, anything of the sort. Like he be in his dorm room, he goes to the cab to eat, he goes to class, he goes to the rec center to work out, play basketball, play football with the guys, shower in the dorm, do just a regular guy, okay? And
Hmm.
you have uh guy B. He is the running back on the football team. He is the running back on the UCLA Division I football team. Okay. Before I go forward, out of those two men, who do women have more access to on campus? Person or guy A or guy B?
More ad, probably about the same.
Come on, Danny. They don't have the same access to the Division I football player as the regular guy that be at the
What,
cat.
what do you mean by access to them? Like they have probably equal amount of opportunities to like meet these people. Is that
No, they
access?
don't. No, they don't. The first of all, they probably at a Division I school, like first of all, especially at a school like UCLA, whether he's a freshman, whatever he is, he's not staying on campus with all the other students. At these big D1 schools, they like I was NCAA Division II. At these
Hmm.
big D1 schools, these athletes have like their own like student apartments, like their own dormitories, very nice. So they're not even mingling with all the regular students unless they go to a party or unless they make themselves accessible to the regular students. Secondly, those
Are they not
guys,
going
those
to
guys have to wake up in the
class?
morning. They have to wake up in the morning. They gotta go do weights. They gotta go do conditioning. They gotta go watch film. Trust me, as someone that was a college athlete, I know what I'm talking about. You
I mean, I'm
have
not a college athlete, so maybe
Yeah, I know
I'm
you're
less
not exactly,
aware.
and you know what I'm talking about. So and then you got road games, you got scrimmages, like you have activities you have to do as a team. Danny, just accept it. They have more access to guy A. So being
Okay.
that they have more access to guy A, who, despite the fact that they have more access to guy A, who are they more attracted to? So they got way significantly more access to guy A than they do guy B. But who are they more attracted to?
That just depends on what type of guy they like.
Danny.
You think like
Danny.
every woman is just going to blatantly be more attracted to a guy because he plays football?
Danny, you're trying to tell me that um athletes, especially at a big Division I school. So let me put it like this to you, okay? Because I can speak from experience this as well. So again, let's say they go to some on-campus party. So now they are mingling with the regular students. Who is going to be more visible to the regular students? The guy that's on the basketball team, the guy that's on the football team, or just regular old Eric?
I
Who's
mean, like
gonna?
if they were they rocking into the party with their jerseys?
They don't have to have their jerseys on. At Friday, Sunday afternoon, people are going to the football game. They are going to tailgate at the football game. They
Uh-huh.
go there. They're going to the basketball game. So these athletes are more visible. Being that they are more visible, they are more popular. And Eric, like I
Sure.
said, Eric is not only is Eric not on an athletic team, he's not on he's not in a frat. He's not a part of any on campus groups. Like nobody really
Okay.
knows this guy other than the friends that he does have on campus. and maybe the guys that he sees at the rec center. So,
Okay.
so being that the athletes are more visible, who are the women more so likely going to give more attention to?
Probably the person they're seeing more than this person who is
All
not
right,
out
all right,
in
all right. Don't
social.
worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Dana.
I'm just like confused about where this is going.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Like athletes are popular, is
No,
that
no, don't worry
the
about it.
point?
You being disingenuous right now. Don't worry about it.
I
Please
just said
go ahead.
the athlete. How is that being disingenuous? I'm
Okay,
just
all right. Don't worry about it.
confused.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead, mute. Just go ahead, mute. Don't worry about it.